Okay, boys and girls, welcome to our first installment of the CRT review. I'm making these YouTube videos, obviously, because of the COVID-19 outbreak and the school closings. However, these are going to be really good. So what we're going to be talking about in our very first lesson here is Unit 1. So we're looking at the Unit 1 CRT preparation. Now, the questions that are going to be asked are going to be multiple choice, and they're going to, in essence, cover three main topics. The first topic being, is the information random or biased? Would you take a census or a sample? And the third is the information quantitative or qualitative? All right. So talking about the very first topic right here, random or biased. These are potential potential multiple choice options that you'll be given. But really the true breakdown of whether something is random or biased is the sheer fact that everybody have a chance to be asked. Random is good, biased is bad. So if everybody has a choice to be selected, like in option A, that's the choice that you want. These other things are just distractors. If something is biased, okay, because they didn't have a chance to be asked, that'd be the option that you would pretty much want right here. So option E would be your default biased answer. However, option F is also valid because if the question isn't fair or it's just a bad question to begin with. All right, I'll run through an example and then I'll leave you a few to look at yourself. So, we're going to match these up with these different outcomes. Okay, so a sample was constructed to determine how many students at Independence High School are interested in going to the spring musical. Okay, so the very first one offers us, option A says, every fifth student entering third hour class, which everybody has, every fifth student entering third hour class, were asked, are you interested in going to the spring musical? Now, what that does is, our population is Independence High School. So did we ask every person at Independence High School? Yes. And we didn't exclude anybody. So that's a good random option. That would be the A. Everybody had a chance. That's random. That's really good. In B says every fifth student entering choir class. Stop right there. Choir class does not encompass Independence High School. That's a bad sample. All right, so that would be biased. Option E. Because not every person of the population had a chance to be asked. Okay, C, every 100 people entering Independence High School. Stop right there. What if you're not the first? So E again, not every person. Every student was issued a ticket with a unique number on it. A random number generator was used to identify the students to be surveyed. Those were asked, are you interested in... Okay, that's a random number generator is kind of a tip of the hat that's probably a really good choice. So random number generator, that's an option A, that's random. Awesome. E, as students get their lunches in the cafeteria, stop right there. Okay, not every student gets their lunch in the cafeteria. Some bring their lunch, some don't eat lunch, etc., etc. Bias, not everybody of the population. F, every fifth person entering third hour classes were asked. Okay, so far so good. Do you want to see the most exciting show on earth? Okay, you can't ask it that way. You can't imply an answer. You can't talk somebody into an answer that you want. So that would be the unique situation that would be biased because the question that was asked is unfair. You can't lead somebody into an answer. So again, random is good, bias is bad. I'll leave you to do questions 2, 3, 4, and 5. It'll be posted. I'll post the answers so you guys kind of know what's up. All right. Next thing that we need to talk about is census versus sample. Okay. Census is when you ask everybody of the population. A sample is when you don't ask everybody. You just ask like a little piece of the population. So the population, and if you only ask a sampling of it, a little part. And again, here are, in essence, the different options that you could be given. Again, there's a lot of distractors in here. The only valid options are this. You want to take a census because it's the most accurate. However, just because it's the most accurate doesn't mean you would do it. Like, you would not take a census if the population is very large. It's not manageable. So you would only take a census when the population is small. Everything else is a distractor. So you want to do this, but it has to be small. It has to be manageable. Of the sample options, when would you take a sample? When that is when the population is very large. Okay, when it's not manageable. Like, you know, you're talking about the number of Americans. Okay, that's a very large number. However, if you're talking about, you know, kids in your 5th hour class or whatever, that would be really small. That would be a manageable size. So I'll go through a couple sample questions. Okay, how many Americans personally own their own vehicle? Blah, blah, blah. That's Americans is very large. That's, that you would take a sample. How many students in your school? Again, that's pretty large. Sample. How many of your students' basketball team? Okay, that's relatively small. You could take a census in that situation. How many people in your 3rd hour? That's small. That's a census, etc., etc. So again, just look at the population size, and if it's really big, okay, take a sample. If it's really small, take a census. And last but not least, quantitative and qualitative. Again, a lot of options here. Again, the only 2 valid options are quantitative, quantity. Quantity is something that is measurable. So D is the only option here. D, quantitative, quantity is measurable. All this other stuff is just distractors. Qualitative, it'd be the opposite of that. Quality is a non-measurable thing. It's good. It's smart. Or if a number is categorical, okay, like a phone number or an address or a zip code, even though those numbers don't mean like a quantity of anything. They're just categorical numbers. So quantity, measurable. Quality, qualitative, is not measurable. So again, just going through a few here. The cheese is old and moldy. Okay, that's just describing thing. That's a quality, qualitative. The child is 8 years old. That's a measurement. 8 years is a measurement. Quantity, quantitative. Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. True story. However, there is no measurement in there. Okay, so that's a qualitative. Going down to the next one. Michael Jordan averaged 30.1 points per game. Okay, that's a measurement. Okay, you can compare that to something else. And so that would be a quantitative. Okay, there's others. And again, just because something has a number in there does not necessarily mean that it's quantitative. So quantity is measurable. Qualitative is a quality. It's a non-measurable thing. All right, so that is our first installment. I will have more videos to come on various chapters. Take a look at these questions, and this will help you get prepared for the Unit 1 portion of our CRT.